In the realm of ancient history, truth is often stranger than fiction. Did you know that in ancient Egypt, servants were occasionally covered in honey to attract pesky flies away from the pharaoh? This bizarre practice highlights the extreme lengths taken to ensure the ruler's comfort. Moving on to the Vikings, their traditional helmets didn't actually have horns. This popular myth was born in the 19th century due to theatrical adaptations. Lastly, consider the mysterious indigo of the Maya, a bright blue pigment found on pottery. Its formula remained a mystery for centuries until modern researchers unraveled its secrets. Such peculiar facts remind us of the ingenuity and eccentricity of ancient civilizations, urging us to explore more of history's captivating mysteries. Like and subscribe. In the annals of ancient history, some facts are stranger than fiction. Imagine the first instance of a vending machine, not in our modern world, but in ancient Egypt. Around the 1st century AD, Hero of Alexandria invented a device that dispensed holy water upon coin insertion, a precursor to today's conveniences. Meanwhile, ancient Rome had its own ingenious innovations. Did you know that some Roman emperors utilized air conditioning? By channeling water from aqueducts through home walls, they achieved a cooling effect, a luxury in the scorching Mediterranean. Lastly, consider the Japanese Heian period when aristocrats blackened their teeth as a sign of beauty and refinement, a practice known as ohaguro. These peculiar historical insights remind us how innovation and culture transcend time. Join us again for more intriguing tales from the past. Like and subscribe. Imagine a world where rabbits threatened an empire. Yes, believe it or not, Emperor Augustus of Rome faced an invasion of overly abundant rabbits on the island of Minorca. His attempts to fix this problem were so extravagant that he had to deploy an army of ferrets and even soldiers. Jump ahead a few centuries and meet Emperor Elagabalus, a Roman ruler infamous for his bizarre culinary tastes. He loved serving banquets featuring camel heels, nightingale tongues, and flamingo brains. As if that weren't odd enough, consider the ancient Greeks, who used tiny, live beetles as earrings, giving a whole new meaning to fashion buzzing with life. These peculiar pieces of history remind us how diverse and colorful our human story truly is, keeping us curious and fascinated. Like and subscribe. History is filled with oddities that defy belief. Did you know that in ancient Rome, it was a sign of wisdom to have a crooked nose? The Romans believed a hooked nose represented authority and intelligence, making it highly desirable. Moving across the globe to ancient China, the Zhou dynasty practiced a curious custom known as Zhu Yu, where courtiers danced in bare feet on icy surfaces to perform for the emperor. This bizarre ritual was meant to showcase their dedication and endurance. Another astonishing fact is how Cleopatra, the renowned Egyptian queen, wasn't actually Egyptian. She hailed from a Greek lineage known as the Ptolemaic dynasty, which ruled following Alexander the Great's conquest. These peculiar historical snippets reveal just how quirky and captivating the past can be, continually surprising us with its idiosyncrasies. Welcome to another fascinating journey through the bizarre corridors of ancient history. Did you know that ancient Egyptians, those masters of architecture, also had pet cats, aiding their grain storage? These feline friends were revered for their pest control skills. Moving on to ancient Greece, the Spartans, known for their might and discipline, hosted brutal competitions called the Gymnopedia, where young warriors showcased their strength through no-holds-barred combat. And lastly, let's visit ancient China. During the Han Dynasty, emperors claimed they possessed dragons to legitimize their rule, though these were most likely misunderstood fossils. These eccentric snippets of the past remind us that history is full of surprising and sometimes unbelievable truths. Stay tuned for more mind-boggling facts in our next adventure through time. Like and subscribe. Today, we dive into the lesser-known corners of ancient history with some peculiar facts you might find hard to believe. Our journey begins in ancient Greece, where the physician Hippocrates prescribed laughter as a cure for various ailments, believing it could aid digestion and mental health. Crossing over to ancient Egypt, you'll be surprised to learn that Pharaoh Pepi II allegedly kept naked slaves covered in honey around him, solely to distract flies. Meanwhile, the Romans were no strangers to eccentricity. Emperor Elagabalus famously served meals made entirely of inedible faux food to bemuse his guests. Finally, in ancient China, during the Han Dynasty, It was once customary for people to wear colorful, vibrant clothing to funerals, showcasing joy and celebrating the deceased's life. Ancient history never ceases to astonish us. Did you know that ancient Romans used human urine as a cleaning agent for their clothes? Incredibly, this odd practice was not only common, but also an essential part of everyday life. Urine contains ammonia, a chemical that's an effective cleaning agent. Fullers, early Roman launderers, collected urine in public vats to use for whitening fabrics. But the weirdness doesn't stop there. Across the globe in ancient China, one of the most prized delicacies was bird's nest soup, made from the saliva of cave-dwelling swiftlets. These birds crafted their nests almost entirely from their hardened saliva, and these nests were considered a luxurious and nutritious treat. It's astonishing to think how resourceful and unusual past civilizations were in their daily practices. Join us next time for more peculiar insights into our shared history. Ready to dive into some of the weirdest facts from ancient history that might just blow your mind? 1. Did you know the Great Pyramid of Giza was the tallest man-made structure for over 3,800 years? That's longer than any building today has stood. 2 Roman gladiators didn't just fight to the death. In fact, many were superstars of their time, complete with fans and endorsements. Imagine them on ancient social media. 3 The Hanging Gardens of Babylon? They might not even exist. Historians debate if they were real or just a myth, which makes them even more fascinating. Last, the ancient Sumerians were the first to invent beer over 4,000 years ago. They even had a goddess of beer named Ninkasi. Cheers to that! Drop a comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe. Here are 3 weird ancient history facts you won't believe are real. 1. Did you know that in ancient Egypt, people used to shave their eyebrows as a sign of mourning? When a cat died, families would often go all out, completely shaving their heads in tribute. Talk about a hair-raising tribute. 2. The Romans had a god for everything, including door hinges. That's right, Cardea was the goddess of hinges and doorways. Imagine praying to the door every time you walk into your house. And here's fact number 3. In ancient Greece, athletes competed in the nude. That's right. The word gymnasium comes from the Greek word gymnos, meaning naked. Can you imagine the awkwardness of that? Want more mind-blowing history? Hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing facts from the past. Did you know that ancient history is filled with bizarre facts that sound like fiction? First up, did you know the Great Pyramid of Giza was originally covered in shiny white limestone? It reflected sunlight and could be seen from miles away, making it the original shining structure. And speaking of shine, Emperor Caligula once declared war on the ocean. He ordered his soldiers to collect seashells as treasures of victory. Talk about a beach day gone wrong. Next, let's talk hygiene. Contrary to popular belief, Vikings were surprisingly clean. They bathed weekly, used combs, and even had rudimentary deodorants. Who knew they were the original hipsters? Which fact blew your mind the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more crazy history facts. Think you know ancient history? Get ready for some of the weirdest facts. Did you know the original Olympic athletes competed completely naked? That's right. Ancient Greeks believed it showed their peak athleticism. Talk about dedication. And speaking of dedication, Romans shared their toilet sponges. Instead of toilet paper, they used a sponge on a stick, rinsed it in water, and, well, you get the picture. Definitely not the most hygienic invention. Ancient Egyptians loved cats so much that harming one could be punishable by death. They saw cats as sacred protectors, even mummifying them for the afterlife. Felines were basically ancient VIPs. Did you know Rome had female gladiators, known as gladiatrices? Though rare, these women fought in arenas just like men, thrilling audiences with their skills and bravery. Hit like and follow for more. Let's jump into the weirdest of the weird. In ancient Greece, there was a punishment for traitors where they would scrape someone's skin with metal tools, like a cheese grater. Let's just say Greeks took betrayal seriously. Next, Vikings celebrated important events by throwing massive feasts, and sometimes even sacrificed animals and humans in bonfires to honor their gods. Not your average campfire. The Egyptians wore heavy eyeliner, but not just for fashion. They believed it had magical properties to protect against evil spirits and infections. It was like ancient SPF and good luck charm in one. Last, the Persian Empire had an elite group called the Immortals. Every time one died or got injured, they were immediately replaced, keeping their numbers at exactly 10,000. It was like a never-ending army. Hit like and follow for more mind-blowing history. Think you know ancient history? Here are some strange and mind-boggling facts that you might have trouble believing. Did you know the Romans had fast food? Ancient Rome was filled with food stalls called thermopolia, where people could grab quick meals. Think of it as an ancient McDonald's for the busy Roman. In ancient Egypt, women used barley and wheat to predict pregnancy. They'd urinate on the seeds, and if they sprouted, it meant pregnancy. Shockingly, studies show this method was actually accurate about 7% of the time. And Spartans, known for their warrior culture, ate a soup called black broth, made from pig's blood, vinegar, and salt. Not exactly a comfort food, but it was said to toughen them up. Leave a comment, and don't forget to follow for more amazing history bites. In the realm of history, the image of a cowboy conjures tales of the Wild West. Yet ancient cowboys may surprise you, with their existence long before the American frontier. Believe it or not, ancient Mesopotamians, around 3500 BC, were among the first to domesticate cattle, engaging in practices remarkably similar to modern cattle herding. These early cowboys used reed corrals to manage their herds and developed ingenious methods for livestock care and breeding. Astonishingly, ancient Egyptians were also part of this cowboy legacy, driving herds across deserts to the Nile, employing herding techniques that mirror those of the later American cowboys. Such ancient practices laid the groundwork for what became a cultural icon. This interconnected history highlights an enduring human bond with cattle across centuries and continents, crafting a legacy far older than one might assume. Imagine a society where toothpaste was made from crushed bones, oyster shells, and burnt eggshells. Welcome to ancient Egypt, where oral hygiene was uniquely creative. Now, fast forward to ancient Greece, where tax evasion could lead to an extraordinary fate, exile. The Greeks feared that without taxes, their beloved city-states might crumble. In Rome, however, it wasn't taxes but fashion that dictated bizarre trends. Infamous Roman Emperor Elagabalus, known for his eccentricity, would fill his swimming pool with rose petals, an extravagance only the emperor could afford. And lastly, consider the Vikings, whose warriors believed in the power of the Berserker gang, entering battles in a trance-like fury, a practice now thought to involve hallucinogens. Such facts remind us how history, though distant, remains a fascinating enigma.
In the ancient landscapes of Europe, where mystery protective charms were a vital part of daily life. From the Celtic lands to the Viking shores, these mystical objects were believed to ward off evil and ensure good fortune. Picture a Bronze Age amulet, worn as a necklace, its intricate patterns whispering tales of long-lost beliefs. In Roman Britain, the fascinum, a phallic charm, was a common sight, thought to safeguard against the evil eye. Journey further north and discover the Vikings' runestones, carved with symbols invoking protection from gods like Thor. These artifacts reveal a captivating blend of folklore and superstition, highlighting humanity's timeless desire for safety and success. Today, they remind us that hope in charms spans across time, binding past and present in a shared quest for protection.
Did you know that ancient Asia holds some of the most bizarre and mind-boggling historical facts? For instance, in Japan during the Edo period, it was common for sumo wrestlers to work as bodyguards or protect citizens from fires. Their enormous size and strength made them the perfect candidates for such roles. Meanwhile, in India, the great King Ashoka, who ruled in the 3rd century BCE, once had a massive naval fleet, despite the nation being landlocked in many regions. It was mostly used to control and patrol rivers. Finally, in China, Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor, was so obsessed with immortality that he consumed mercury, thinking it would grant him eternal life. Ironically, this may have been the cause of his early demise. Fascinating tidbits highlight the colorful tapestry of ancient Asian history, where fact often surpasses fiction. Imagine a time where emperors ruled vast empires and customs were peculiar beyond belief. In ancient Asia, history was filled with the bizarre and extraordinary. Take, for example, the Japanese practice of Sokushin Butsu. Buddhist monks attempted to achieve enlightenment through self-mummification, a grueling process of strict fasting and meditation, culminating in a form of living entombment. Moving to ancient China, have you heard of Emperor Wudi's obsession with the elixir of life? It's said he consumed strange concoctions that were believed to grant immortality, ironically containing elements like mercury. In India, the great King Ashoka turned a new leaf after witnessing a battlefield's devastation, transforming from a ruthless warrior to a peace-loving Buddhist, spreading welfare reforms across his realm. These curious tales remind us how fascinatingly unusual history can be. Did you know that in ancient Western Europe, it was a widely held belief that wearing socks in bed could ward off evil spirits? While it may sound peculiar today, this practice was part of a broader tradition, to protect against the unseen. In Celtic culture, for instance, Druids were known to use mistletoe, considered sacred during rituals, to heal the sick or influence outcomes. Meanwhile, the Romans, famous for their engineering prowess, were also driven by superstitions. They integrated talismans into their structures to safeguard their cities from curses. From the enigmatic stone circles of Britain to the myth-laden forests of Germany, ancient Western Europe was a land where reality often intertwined with the supernatural. These fascinating practices remind us how belief and tradition shaped societies long before the modern age. Dive into the intriguing world of ancient Asian history, where fact often outshines fiction. Imagine the Rig Veda, a sacred text from India dating back to around 1500 BCE, describing concepts strikingly similar to airplanes and nuclear war, long before such technology existed. Meanwhile, in ancient China, King Gujian of Yue used a remarkable psychological warfare technique. He would force criminals to decapitate themselves before battles, intimidating enemies with the display of resolve. And who could forget the Korean invention of the turtle ship? This ironclad war vessel, crafted during the 15th century, boasted a spiked roof to deter boarders long before Europe's ironclads. Each of these facts reveals ancient Asia's blend of innovation, bravery, and imaginative expression. History indeed is stranger than we can often imagine. Did you know that ancient Asia was home to some of the most bizarre and intriguing historical facts? In ancient China, paper wasn't used just for writing. It was sometimes eaten as a delicacy. Emperors reportedly dined on paper shaped into delicious dishes, believing it would grant wisdom. Meanwhile, in Japan's Nara period, deer were considered sacred messengers of the gods. Killing a deer could land you in serious trouble, with punishments as severe as the death penalty. Even today, the town of Nara celebrates these mystical creatures, allowing them to roam freely. Finally, in ancient India, chess had a different twist. It was played with dice. Unlike the chess we know, this version introduced an element of chance, making each move unpredictable. These peculiar facts remind us how rich and fascinating ancient Asian history truly is. Did you know that ancient Asia is home to some of the most unbelievable historical facts? Picture this. In ancient China, around 200 BCE, there was a peculiar practice involving the use of toilet paper. Yes, the elite of the Han Dynasty were known to use paper for personal hygiene, long before it became common elsewhere. Meanwhile, in ancient Japan, the samurai had a bizarre tradition known as inemuri. The art of sleeping on the job wasn't seen as laziness, but as dedication. It showcased the samurai's ability to be ever vigilant, even in rest. And let's not forget India, where chess was invented. Initially called chaturanga, this game of strategy dates back to the 6th century. These fascinating facts reveal the rich tapestry of innovation and tradition in ancient Asian civilizations, offering us a glimpse into an extraordinary world.